Hello again, welcome to the Ref Show. It teams up the two H's, Halsey with Hackett this week on the programme. Now then, one top referee takes a stand against Grappling. Let's hope it's not a one-man stand. Or is it? We just don't know. We'll investigate that with these two, and even the best referees can make mistakes. Mark, Keith, we've got to start with the national debate over Mike Dean's two penalty calls. Now, you in particular have called for a crackdown on grappling for a long, long time. Manchester City's 4-1 win at Stoke. Everybody knows two penalties were given here. Set-piece incidents. Penalty to City, quite clear, I think. Shawcross on Otamendi. But there was a debate about the penalty to Stoke. Sterling on Shawcross. Now, your view, first of all, on those two and what's actually happened here?
Well, I think if we get into the detail, obviously Mike has decided, or PGMOL have decided, to say grappling is going to be penalised and punished. So on the first one, I'm with Mike Dean. I think he's detected it. It's come as a surprise to everybody because those sort of offences for a number of years have gone unpunished, and Mike suddenly goes to the spot and surprises everybody. So I come from a position of no surprises. So my whole argument about Mike Dean, he's the senior guy in the group. He's the one that everybody should look up to. And he's not one for going out on his own. So is there a policy? Is the PGMOL issued a policy to its referees to say, we're going to clamp down on grappling? If that is the case, why hasn't that been communicated to clubs and the media? When you listen to the interviews on television, Shawcross and Mark Hughes, who can be pretty vociferous, both of them, were quite clear that a member of the PGMOL management team, that's probably Chris Foy, has been in and had that debate. So it didn't come as a big surprise to Shawcross.
Are we saying a big applause to Mike Dean for taking the action that this website has been asking for?
Well, I have to say,
my first view is yes, because I think grappling hasn't a place in the game. It's called football, and therefore they should be punished. But he can't go out on a limb. And my argument is, if Mike has taken this course of action on his own, I applaud him individually, but it has to be an action across the board and everybody has to be informed.
Have they been informed?
Well, from my understanding, the referees have received nothing, no directive whatsoever from the coaches or the management team. What they have spoken about, I understand, is that yes, we need to sort out grappling, and it's about picking the right offences. It's about picking the right offences. Now, yes, I mean, we saw one clearly last week at John Moss, Burnley Swansea. Clearly, Furs got the shirt of Keane. They're the ones you need to pick up. Now, you know, last season we saw shirts being pulled off of players' backs in the penalty. They're the ones we need to pick up. Now, I agree with Keith.
You have to start somewhere.
We have to start somewhere, yes, but you know, Mike Dean, I applaud Mike. You have to support Mike with the first penalty, no problem at all. But I think had he not given anything, there wouldn't have been no complaints.
Really?
But the second one on Sterling, for me, that is picked the wrong offence. That's never a penalty in a million years, in my opinion.
But the first one, you'd have been on here saying he's missed a clear grappling, would you not?
Well, absolutely. I think at the end of the day, we've either got to get rid of grappling in its entirety, and therefore you've got to take a fairly hard line. However, the argument here is back to the PGMOL and the policy. Because if you're going to start a principle for the start of the season, i.e. dissent, I think that was made fairly clear. We have already said dissent, if it's actioned upon, will actually lead to red cards.
And we'll talk about that because we've got a couple of incidents to highlight.
So I think that policy was communicated well. So as Mark has just alluded to, it looks as though Mike might have gone out on his own, and I think that's a pity if that's the case.
What would you like other referees to do with him now having done that? Would you like to see other referees follow suit?
Well, no, it's not that. It's down to the PGMOL management. It's down to the leadership and direction. Look how we've spoke about it in the Euros with Cleaner, the way he led his team. It's exactly the same here. Now, I understand the meeting at St George's this week, so they get all the referees in, they sit them down, they show the clips from the weekend, and they say, this, we want punished, excellent, and including Mike Dean's first, detection of the Shawcross Otamendi incident,
Yeah.
and then they obviously show the Burnley incident from last week, and they show the Sterling incident as well, and say, well, this is our penalties we support, but this we do not support. And I'm telling you now, I think that's what will happen this week at St George's, and I'm pretty sure, I'm 100% sure that the management and the coaching team will say Sterling is not a penalty.
Sure, but they won't say that about the other one. So Mike Dean's action, brave and courageous action on that, which this website, I think by nature would applaud, because of what you've been calling for, is absolutely valueless unless it's followed through.
Well, I mean, look, it's football.
Yeah.
F-O-O-T, foot. It's supposed to be played with the feet. What we've been seeing systematically over a number of years is wrestling, rugby-style play inside the penalty area, which is not good for the game. The enlightenment of all this is we go to the European Championships, Kalina gives it fantastic leadership. He says that this is not going to happen, and what do the referees do? They know that if they don't do what he expects them to do, they'll not get another game. They all do, with the leadership that he gives, exactly what he wants. We don't get grappling. No. We didn't see it.
But Keith's absolutely spot on. That's what we want to see, the wrestling that goes on. Listen, it's a contact sport. Contact will take place in the penalty area. It's a contact sport. But we don't want to see the wrestling, we don't want to see the shirts that are pulled off people's backs. They're the ones we want detected. Not the stir. We've got to choose the right offence. We've got to pick the right offence to do it.
1 out of 2 then, I think, is the agreement on the right offence, isn't it? 1 out of 2. Certainly, as a layman and a neutral, I thought he was absolutely correct with the first one. I was ecstatic because I thought this is what we've been calling for.
What do you know? You work in the media. What do you know?
Absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing whatsoever. But I was ecstatic.
Well, I
because
think
he knows what he's talking about. He was, and so do you.
But do you not know? I think I know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely, I think you do. But you work for this website, and this website has run a campaign against grappling.
Oh, and for me, there's no question.
And it's run a campaign that I think all the guys should support and get behind.
I agree. And therefore, I think that in terms of grappling, punish it, please. Mike Riley, give the leadership. Let's have the Premier League, which is the best league in the world. Allow skillful players to demonstrate their skills, not thuggery that comes from.
Can I just?
I'm just going to come in here, but it's spot on. But it's important for young referees out there to pick the right offence to penalise.
Absolutely. Mark Hughes, the Stoke manager, said, "Well, if Dean is going to have to award, award penalties like this, he's going to have to do it in every game. But he won't if players' habits change." But
it's going to be important for the appointment of the referee for the Stoke and the Man City game this weekend.
Hey, I've thoroughly enjoyed that. It's great to have this raging debate in the studio and still not a red card in sight.
But it's interesting. It's interesting that both Shawcross and Mark Hughes come out and say that the penalty they got wasn't a penalty, and also that the clearest penalty of the day was the foul from Kolarov on Joe Allen that wasn't given.
Oh, I know, absolutely.
That was a penalty.
And we've only just come to that. In the second part, we'll talk about this question of dissent, but just very quickly, because we've only got 30 seconds. Anthony Taylor back in the groove, 0 cards. Manchester United against Southampton, but you probably query 1 or 2 things about his performance. Stuart Atwell, 0 cards. Swansea against Hull.
Mr. Penalty, didn't he?
Right?
Yeah. Missed the penalty kick.
Those 2, what are you giving them? 6 out of 10? 7 out of 10?
7.
7 out of 10. All right.
Yeah.
Burnley against Liverpool. Lee Mason, 2-0 to Burnley.
And what about the ball out of play?
Yes.
Assistant let him down. Lee had a good game, and he kept the game flowing. Good on him. Just get the confidence, Lee, and build on it.
Spurs 1, Crystal Palace 0. Michael Oliver.
I think he's had an excellent start to the season.
And he's moving better.
Yeah, I thought he handled
his movement is excellent.
Arsenal-Liverpool game superbly.
Thanks, chaps, because that clears the decks for the major talking points of Diego Costa in the second part, this business of dissent and yellow cards for dissent, and also referees' pay. All of that to come. Don't miss it. A defender who's trying to block a goal-bound shot suddenly appears to suffer some sort of seizure, flinging an arm out and deflecting the ball wide before collapsing. As you call the physio on, You've no idea whether or not he was faking it. What do you do?